Hey YouTube, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me today. It's gonna be a review of an amazing album that I cannot stop listening to. Ruins of Beverast's new album, Exuvia. When I first saw the album cover, I thought, gosh, I don't know, this might not be great. You know, Ruins of Beverast has put out a lot of good albums, and I thought, you know, maybe the fifth one might not be so hot. I wouldn't be surprised if their, best years are behind them, or his. But I was very mistaken. Ruins of Beverast is a solo project by Alexander von Meilenwald that began in 2003 when Nagelfar, with the E, the German Nagelfar, ended in 2002. In 2002, Nagelfar had a great discography, about 3 albums. Virus West kind of started to show some hints of what would become Ruins of Beverast, and so it seemed like the second Nagelfar was done, Alexander von Meilenwald just picked up right where Virus West left off and started his own solo project, and he's had, as far as I'm concerned, nothing but the greatest of success with tremendous and enthralling albums that offer a lot of variety to them. Each one, I'm just so excited to hear it because I know it's going to be great, and I know it's going to be different enough from the last one that I'm surely going to enjoy it and just dive headfirst into it and get into it. So I had a little bit of trepidation once I saw this album cover, but I thought, how can it be bad? The last album, Blood Vaults, I thought was really amazing. Unfortunately, I only bought it on vinyl, and me, I don't really spin vinyl as often as I do CDs, so I haven't really listened to Blood Vaults as often as I would like to. I should probably just go ahead and pick up a CD copy of it. Anyways, Foulest Semen of the Shelter to Lead is the one I listen to most often, and that's the first one that really became indicative of the style that is now, I think, best shown, I guess, on this new album, Exuvia. With Foulest Semen of the Shelter to Lead, it seemed like the guitars got a lot cleaner, and everything just kind of really dropped down into a lower register, and it just became like the drums became a lot more thundering and massive, and there was a mindfulness to the production that just seemed to lend a lot of atmosphere through its just vast scope, and that's something that just really makes Exuvia what it is, having such a breadth of vast and open listenability and space to just imagine what these songs are about in that space. And that's mainly because there's this, and you can hear in the background, there's this low sort of droning clean guitars, just amazing, beautiful effects on these low registered guitars. But over the top of that, there's this more dirty guitar going on. Sometimes chugging along pretty fast, sometimes it's really slow and kind of going with the slower, more drony, clean guitars. Sometimes blast beat drums, sometimes it's just kind of like a slow double bass kind of death metal sort of thing. And that brings me to a point, to say that this is black metal would definitely do it a disservice. To say that it's death metal or doom would also just completely do everybody involved a disservice. So I'm not going to say this is any one genre. The Ruins of Beverast really have their own character that just defies all genres and just has such a distinct and enjoyable personality all its own that I think makes the Ruins of Beverast stand far and away above a lot of other bands. This is definitely a big-time headphone album. I would definitely recommend listening to it on headphones to get that full fidelity going on, and just to live in that giant atmosphere going on between these swirling layers and kind of hypnotic elements of the vocals mixing in with the clean guitars, and then having the volume of this more metal, nasty sort of sound come up through that and then kind of take it over. And also there's a lot of interesting and almost frightening use of sampling. Samples that kind of sound familiar at first, but not quite, and you're kind of there's some vocal samples, or there's some truncated sitar samples going on in the first song. Just amazing use of atmospheric and atmospheres and samples going on, which has been prevalent throughout all of their albums, especially the first one. I feel like there's such an amazing use of strange movie samples going on. That was really what made me like the band when I first heard them in, I don't know, 2004 or so. With what was the first one? Unlock the Shrine. That album's just so great. So anyways, I think one of the big factors that made this album what it is, and something that I'm realizing now that I have a copy of it, is that, and I'm able to like read through the booklet and understand what went into this, is that the person who mixed and mastered this is Michael Zeck, who has played in Oda Markarum, which is a killer German band, which is kind of like a post Nagura Bungit project, I think. And he also played in Secrets of the Moon, which is a band I don't really keep up with very well, but apparently I guess I should now that I'm listening to this and realizing that he's lent his talents to this. But he also mixed and mastered the new Bolzer, the latest Shamash, and he also mixed and mastered the last Triptychon. Now those are albums I haven't really enjoyed. In fact, I don't know if I've heard any of those albums. No, the Shamash, I did like that new Shamash album. But I know these albums are have just steeped in atmosphere and have a lot of clever production to them that just, you know, made them successful and digestible that they were. So I guess the last thing I don't really know what to tell you about it, though, is that I don't know what this album is about. What I do know is that Exuvia is a term for something like shedding skin, or like when a bug, you know, molts and sheds its shell or something. That's called exuviation, or the shell that it leaves is its exuvia. But I don't really understand what that has to do with the cover art here. We see, like, I don't know, maybe like a Native American sort of warlord banging a drum while there's a fire and a dragon coming out. And when I first saw that, you know, I thought, well, I don't know what to make of it, but maybe it's about some Native American sort of folklore or stories. But as far as I can tell, it's not about that. So I'm kind of scratching my head here. I went through the lyrics and listened to the album front to back a couple times. And the lyrics are all about like Greek mythology and stuff. So I don't really understand the relation to the Greek mythology and the Exuvia and this, what looks like a Native American kind of thing. So if you have any light that you can shed on this album, please feel free to let me know. I'm really curious to understand what it's about, because the last album, Blood Vaults, was about the blazing gospel of Heinrich Kramer, who was the author of the Malleus Maleficarum diatribe or book, which was something about like how to deal with witchcraft, and just like a book just like explaining all this sort of witchcraft. Basically, is really all I know about it. I don't know a lot about it, but it lent to a lot of fascination with that album, and I'm always really interested in finding out, you know, what he's making the music about, because it just lends so much to the imagination and the atmosphere of listening to the record. So I guess that's all I can really think of saying about the album. Pick it up. In the United States, as far as I've seen, I ordered this on last Saturday, I think, and I just got it today. $20 Spin is the only ones carrying this in the United States right now, which is fucking criminal, because this is probably going to be my album of the year. It's definitely what I've listened to the most this year, even though it just came on Bandcamp like 2 weeks ago or so, but I kid you not, I've listened to this album probably 25 times in 2 weeks or so. And I just, now that I have a copy of it, I feel like I'm finally really able to consume it fully and enjoy it in its entirety. I would love to have a vinyl copy of it, I'm sure, now, just because I love it so much. But definitely check this album out. I'll put a link down below in the description for you to do so. You can buy it on Bandcamp. $20 Spin has it on CD and LP. Or if you want to spring for the deluxe vinyl edition, Van Records might still have copies of it. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the album, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.